Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, June 15, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Life is extremely intelligent. Knows exactly how and where to add a little extra heat to your life. The lightness of our being expands through everything. We begin to understand enlightenment and live beyond our ego. Now, the heat of life will come whether you want it or not. You cannot avoid it. It shows up in many mysterious ways and a large variety of forms. When you realize that everything we do, even unconsciously, and we can get into habits and experience certain things, but a lot of the times we will create things, manifest things, that we have no clue that we did. How is that possible? Through the universe, it sends us different instances in our lives that we need to evolve or expand from. Even though, some of them are, have you ever met anybody who hasn't had times in their lives to them that was disruptive, not pleasant to them, and it could be anything. It's interesting when you come across people who have experienced, like, they had 3 loved ones within a matter of months leave the body, right? Which to many people is devastating because of the attachment. But what do we learn now? Do we learn from that or don't we? That's the point. Do we learn from it or don't we? Do we just kind of take it in stride? Is it just something that we just, it's just part of life type thing, rather than looking at it and say, what am I learning from this? Well, you can look at different viewpoints and perspectives and say, it's teaching me how to value life, how to be deeply grateful for life. Because when you look at others leave the body, you're looking at your own mortality. Okay? We see it all the time. We don't register it. We don't sit there and say, oh well, see you, Frank. We mourn and we're depressed at times depending on the relationships with those who have left the body. But do we take space and review what it's teaching us? I don't believe many do, because it's like part of life. Right? Now, what would happen in the event that you had immortality, but you watched many people that you interacted with leave the body? And you imagine how many in 1,000 years. So if you were immortal and they weren't, it would constantly teach you how to be deeply grateful for your immortality. And see, there's a big shift here, because let's say that you operate from the ego mind, as most do on this planet, right, from the head. And so you're mortal. And you about 500-600 years later, you're sitting there going, man, I have to keep interacting and making new friends because so many of them leave the body. That's kind of the flip side of immortality. And a lot of people think that that's just, what, made up stuff or could never happen, and wishful thinking, but it isn't. So you review things and you say to yourself, you go along in life, and then all of a sudden something happens to you. And this happens to a lot of people who have had near-death experiences where they leave the body temporarily. And they're shown something in the matrix, and so, but it changes their lives completely. They might have been a jerk for years and years and years. Something life-threatening happened. They had a near-death experience, and when they came back, they were a totally changed being. So you see, that's why this life is so adventuresome for us, because of the fact that there's always something that we're creating so that we can experience the adventure. If you knew everything that was going to happen for your entire life, you would be so darn bored, your motivation would be in the toilet. You probably wouldn't care to do anything because you already knew. Part of the excitement is that we don't know. Say someone were to say to you, "Well, I'm going to go into the future," and you go, "Well, have a good time." They go into the future, but the future that they go into is not the same future that we will experience today. It's not, even though they may think it is. So do we know our future? By being in the now. Or really, do we care about the future by being in the now? Probably not, because our focus is only in the moment. It's not on tomorrow. It's not what's going to happen 10 years from now. Hey, Frank, where do you think you'll be in 10 years? You just look at them and say, I don't have a clue, and I'm good with that. I'm okay. But if you have someone that's got it all written down in a journal, and they're going to do this, well, more power to them. But 99.999% of the time, people who do practice being in the now on a consistent basis daily live longer than those who live in yesterday and tomorrow. That's a fact. They live longer. Why? Well, you look at it, and yesterday and tomorrow in the ego mind, we're stressing, worrying, fearing about something, always something. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be big, but about something. And once that's gone, then something else comes in to replace it. What's up with that? Well, it's the ego mind, constantly creating these different thoughts that come in. And some of them are so ridiculous. What do we do? Well, we fuss over it, worry about it, stress about it. And what happens? You get that feeling in your heart, don't you? Worry. Stress will do that. Instead, now, flip the switch and be in the now. That doesn't come in. Oh, sure, the ego mind, you'll wander off. Okay? And it isn't a big deal. You wander off, you start over again. Period. When I wander off, I'll start over. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Back in the now. You could be doing mantras and all of a sudden lose count and go off somewhere. You go and you start over again. And the ego mind does it on purpose because it doesn't want you in the now. It doesn't care to have you in the now. Why? Because then it becomes extinct. The longer you're in the now, the less it has anything to do. And this is how you master the ego mind and your thoughts. And isn't that interesting? So you this choice is presented to you, right? And over here on the right, you've got the now. And it explains to you how to move yourself into the now and the heart mind. And then it also shares with you that, hey, you won't have what? Worry, stress, and fear. You won't have all that mind chatter and 60,000 plus thoughts a day, replaying every day. You won't have that. You won't be protecting the ego mind. You won't be concerned about being right or wrong. Because it's an inward journey. Being in the now is really all we have. But see, the ego mind, for many of us on this planet, causes us to go everywhere, doesn't it? We go everywhere. We're scattered all over the place. Doing this, doing that. Have you met anybody that genuinely doesn't worry? They seem at ease. Really, they don't. They're not concerned about all the things that most people are concerned about all the crap going on. Because they manifest the life they want. And they're reconnected with the God within them. And when that happens, when that shift happens, you feel like you have no weight. You feel light as a feather. Have you ever been in a state where you weren't worried about anything for a length of period of time, not just briefly? A state where you weren't worried, stressing, and fearing, and you just kind of let it all go. It's not like, oh, you lost, or you're losing, or you're failing. You just let it go, which means you eliminate your attachments to it. You ask yourself, is this serving me the greatest good? And if your answer is no, why? Okay, so why carry it? See, we carry things from all of our past lifetime. We don't know it until it's drawn to our attention. I've talked to many people through the years and one stands out because this fellow was, he was approaching his 30th birthday. But before that, like when he was 29, 28, he would drive over a covered bridge. Well, it was half covered. Okay. And the closer he got to his 30th birthday, the more uneasy he became. He couldn't figure out, why in the heck am I feeling this way? Because he would watch as he approached the bridge. He got really anxious and antsy kind of driving through. And he had this, it was a weird fear he said he had. He didn't know what it was. And so he would go over it, man, and the closer he got to 30, his birthday, he got to the point where he almost got sick to his stomach. So we did regression therapy, where you take someone to the life that they had before this one, usually. Okay? Not everybody is receptive to it, doesn't work, but a lot of people it does work with. And so we found out that, and this bridge was very old, by the way, 1700, something like that. And it had been, obviously repaired and modernized, but it was the same bridge structure. And come find out, when he was 30, in a past life, he was in a, I guess you'd call it a horse and buggy. It wasn't a wagon. And it was a two-wheeler buggy. And he had one horse. And so he's going over the bridge. And, it's not a complete covered bridge. So you look at the top, and it comes down, and there's open space on each side where you have the bridge railing. So he's approaching us. He's going into town, to the general store. So he's approaching this bridge, and the horse, for some reason, he gets on the bridge, and as the horse walks into the bridge and the buggy is about halfway, the horse freaks out. He couldn't control the horse. So the horse is kicking around the buggy, and it's banging back and forth. And the buggy slams against the side on the girding, or whatever you want to call it, breaks through, and he's thrown over the bridge. He hits his head on a rock and drowns in the river. Pretty deep river, not one of those shallow rivers. So that's what happened to him. Once we were able to identify that, he crossed that bridge every day, was never worried, fearful, or scared again. You see, it's a proven fact that we carry past lives experiences with us to every life. It doesn't mean that we know it, but there are certain signs that show up, just like his situation when he turned 30, on his 30th birthday. And regression happened to work with him. So a lot of us are carrying past life emotional baggage. And about 99.999% of us have no clue that we are. Isn't that wild? And so we deal with that in this life. We wonder why that we have certain instances where it just depends, time of year, age, whatever. These things come in. And for a lot of us, we go, where is this coming from? I've never experienced any of this in this life. Where is this? And it's strange to a lot of people. It should be, because they're not able to correlate what the heck and where the source is that these things are coming from. But this is why a lot of people experience things, and they don't know why they're feeling the way they're feeling. Now when they start to recognize the fact that they've had more than one lifetime, the one that they're in, they start connecting the dots and saying, well, this might be from past life, emotions and situations that I've experienced as a God within bodies. See, we take that with us. Okay? Gosh, we don't take the body with us. But, so it's, when you're going to remember all your past lives. I'll guarantee it. You will remember your past lives clearly, almost photographically. So it won't be a piece here and a piece there. It'll all come flooding in. Now, preparation for that is these global guided meditations that we're in every day that assist us into going within and staying within in the now and mastering the ego mind and our thoughts, which is imperative. Once we do that and we reconnect with the God, figuratively speaking, because we're never disconnected, because we are, but that's kind of the illusion. So when we begin to do this because we choose to do this. It's so that when all of those past lives reveal themselves, you won't be freaked out. Okay? And many people will be. And I believe all of you know why they would be. They don't understand it. They're still heavily steeped in the ego mind and the material physical world. Right? So there's a method, there's a reason for this. There's a reason why the civilization, many have done everything they could to get the civilization into a daily meditation. Right? It takes a lot of dedication to do that. We have these meditations, and the counts on these meditations are greatly manipulated, obviously so that no one would be interested in listening. If someone sees a meditation, it's got 3 million views, what do you think is going to happen? A lot of people will go. But it's only a few hundred or 150 or whatever. Most people will just bypass it. Part of the way our society is structured. But as time goes by, there's people that actually record the recording and then play it to people. And so we have millions of people that listen to these meditations. And it keeps growing. I knew people all the time calling in and talking about that they have groups of people and they listen to these meditations. Listen to them in their cars. They listen to them when they're showering. They listen to them before they go to bed. They listen to them during the day. It's a repetitiveness. When we start identifying and embracing the fact that we're a God in the body and pure consciousness, then we're going to do anything that is needed to rediscover that we are the God in the body and not the body. And what comes along with that is pure bliss, joy, happiness. The stress, the worry, the fears, anxieties, and the thought processes through the ego mind are extinguished. Many have tried to master the ego mind from many different angles and approaches, and the only way that has really worked is meditation. So, but is everybody on the planet doing it? No. Does everybody on the planet have to do it? No. So we don't need a lot of people doing it. Not really. But if you have a concentrated group of people, right, that are motivated to meditate, not because they have to, because they want to. So when that happens and you get maybe 8,500 of them on a daily basis meditating, focusing on what? Focusing on what? God, planet, paradise. Focusing on what they want, how they want their lives to be. Focusing on how they want this planet to be. And see, coming from the heart mind, that's a whole different projection. Coming from the ego mind is completely different too. This is why we've had so much strife on this planet. So it is meditation is the power that lends us the opportunity to be the God that we are in the body, and for so long we haven't been. We haven't acknowledged that. And, some people believe that, the meditation is what? Crap and doesn't do anything and too complicated. And, it goes on and on and on. And it's up to us. It's always up to us. It's up to us to determine what direction do we want. How do we want our lives to be? And because we get so sidetracked and so busy, running here and running there and looking at this and looking at that, we forget. We forget why we're here. And we don't know where to begin to discover why we are here. Do you know why you're here? It's not a trick question. I mean, it's like, shouldn't we know why we are here? It might sound crazy to some people. And a lot of people say, I've never thought about it. I've been so busy in my life doing this and doing that. And you start to unweave, things because you've chosen to. You just start to discover that when you're the happiest, you determine, is when you're with those you love and who love you. Right? But a lot of us don't love ourselves, so that gets a little dicey. Because if we don't love ourselves, there's no way we're going to love anybody else, no matter how much we think we are or do. It all begins with each of us. It all begins with each of us. And it begins with our decision to say, well, I've had a lot of rodeos out there, and I know I have through different lifetimes. And now I want to go within to discover just exactly who and what I am. And that's how that starts. That's how it begins. Because we review it. And we start to pick up things that we never thought about before. And as we do that, sometimes the ego mind comes in and says, hey, you don't pay attention to that. That's just crazy stuff. It's not real. Come over here with me. And then when you look at from a different perspective that you look at, and you're not criticizing yourself, you're not hard on yourself or anything. You're just on this discovery that you begin to realize that, well, when I move myself into a thought process of good things on what you're grateful for and thankful for, and you do this on a daily basis. It's not once in a while, you do it all the time. You're reprogramming yourself because you know that the programming you've received is all wrong. And it has, the people who programmed you, it's not their fault. It's just how the progression of the civilization has been, repeating, mom and dad teaches kids grow up, become mom and dads, they teach their kids. A lot of the information that their mom and dad gave them, they pass down to their kids. This is why we have been in, it seems like, this merry-go-round, where we see things repeat themselves every so many decades. We see that. We say, why? This is just very similar to in the 40s, right? And we review that and we go, why is it that way? Why? How come? And then you get everybody talking about what? What do they talk about? Right in this now moment. What are people saying? This has happened every generation. Okay? And what do they talk about? Well, they talk about how lazy the American people are, how stupid they are, and how they have forgotten their morals and ethics and work ethics and all of that stuff. And the generation now is just useless and no one wants to work. But see, that has repeated itself for generations. It's always been talked about. Kids nowadays don't want to work. Not like the way we grew up. See, that happens. It's a repetitive process. But instead, we haven't been taught to go within. See, we've been taught to go out there. Did you find what you were looking for in life out there? Question is asked many times. People will probably say, sometimes people say, yeah. Other people say, no, I don't have a clue. What is life? What's its purpose? What is life's purpose? In the quiet time of this meditation, you contemplate that. You lean into the body, get in a comfortable position, relax into the body. Drop the shoulders, release the stress, whatever you're carrying. Focus on the breath rising and falling. You're in deep meditation. You're in the now. Do any of us ever ask ourselves, and I'm not talking about judgment, just out of childlike curiosity, what is life for? What are we all doing in these bodies? Well, we're experiencing physical, material life. And so what is life? God, your consciousness. So in a way, we're experiencing God. Now, many do not focus or pay any attention to that because they don't know how. But some people are beginning to understand what it's all about. When we're here, we are on an endless journey. When you hear me say going home, it means to discover the God that you are in the body. That is home. Okay? That's home. And since we're all part of each other, the gods that we are parts of each other, which make up the one, the whole, which is, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. So as you look and you embrace that comprehension, you start to realize, well, then I want to discover the God that I am within this body so that I can be at peace. And that's the only way you will have total freedom and peace is the now. It should be emphasized a lot more. You know, you can buy a very inexpensive clock, right? And instead of numbers, all the clock has is now, all the numbers. Visual things that remind us, stay in the now. You even have a wristwatch that all it has is now. And it's not about, hurrying now, not here, but it reminds us to be in the now. We have other folks that have, made their own now devices to remind them to stay in the now. And we do have to remind ourselves at times, because things can get pretty carried away. I think we all know that. And so we look around us, and you're looking at a clock. You aren't looking at it for time. You're looking at it for the fact of saying, now I've got to stay in the now. I must stay in the now. I am not interested to stay in the ego mind yesterday and tomorrow, where I will suffer stress, fear, anxiety. And in the now, that doesn't exist. So it gives us time to embrace the God that we are within these bodies. Whatever you feel comfortable calling it. Pure consciousness, God, source. Because your pure consciousness, your God, your source, your kingdom of God, your heaven on earth, you are it. Every one of us are it in these bodies. And you can tell by how we operate, right, by watching, that we don't know that. How we act towards other bodies, right? How we interface with other bodies. Not the God in the body, but the body. And this is what we view and, unfortunately, through the ego mind, judge. You come across somebody who is, to you, just super ugly. Just absolutely ugly. Right? And to you, it's a real turnoff for you. Now, you're not looking at the God within that body, you're looking at the body, the surface, the cover, the suit. Now, you have no idea how their personality is. You have no idea how rich of a being that is. So you negate them. Now, you come across someone else, man or woman, it doesn't matter, that you believe is just stunning, right? Stunning, head to toe. But you pursue that based upon the cover. And then let's say that you interact with them, okay? Start getting to know them and everything. You find out that they have very shallow point of view, that they don't have much depth to them, and they have a lot of issues with themselves. Now, interestingly enough, do you know why, this is across the planet, do you know why that, let's take a beautiful woman, are the most loneliest women. You know why? Because the men feel too challenged to be dating that woman because of the competition that they've already created through the ego mind that they're going to receive. The most beautiful women are the most loneliest women. Not alone, lonely. And that's been out throughout the ages. Because of the self-esteem of everyone. It's all interlinked. It's all interconnected. So we don't judge in the now. Watch. Watch, you learn, right? You watch a video, you want to learn something. You watch the video, you learn how to do what you don't know how to do and didn't have a clue to begin with. So one of us teaches you how to do it. Like I said, we're all teachers, all of us. Teachers and students. Depending on any given day, you might be a student. Another day, you might be a teacher for someone else. We are here to serve ourselves and everyone else who are gods within these bodies. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out.
Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Let's practice loving all day today. Self-appreciation, self-acceptance, self-approval are the essential building blocks of self-love. Practicing self-love helps you to feel like you're a worthy, valuable human being. Even if you get everything you want or you don't receive anything you want. When you always love you, it doesn't matter so much what happens on the outside. You don't have to improve anything to deserve your dream life. You already deserve to receive whatever your heart desires because you are worthy of everything in this life exactly as you are. Life is really that beautiful. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Sunday, June 16, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitudes at all times. No matter what's happening outside of you or inside of you. Open your heart and let the magic flow in.